Morning guys, Erica here from Highway 49 RC. If you're a regular on the channel and you're like, man, this kid does some awesome stuff, I'd love to help support her in what she does, well, consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be a great way to do that. Anyway, without further ado, I want to work on my touring car today. And as you can see, I've got a whole slew of parts laid out here for it. My reasoning behind all the parts is not really because it needs them, but because I want to make it fancy, bling it out, and who doesn't love aluminum parts for their RC cars, right? The body on this thing is starting to go to shit, for lack of a better set of terms. The paint in the front, as you can see, is cracking off from the inside. Real bummer, because I'm actually pretty proud of this paint job, even though, as you remember, I was really disappointed with it at first when I painted it. But because I want to maintain the paint job for the shelf in the future, because at some point I want to have like a body hall of fame, you know, this would be an awesome candidate for it. So I want to keep it at least somewhat nice. So I've also got, in addition to all these parts, another body. I'm not going to be painting it today. I'll show you what it is real quick. I mean, you guys can't really tell. It just looks like a bunch of clear plastic because that's what it is. But this is the Biddy Design Hyper HR body, but that's for another video. Let's take a quick look at the parts that I've got. Most of them are 3 racing, as you can see. The only ones that aren't are the Yeah Racing rear control arms. I couldn't find front ones. They make them, or at least they used to, but I cannot find a set of front control arms in the same style for the life of me. Really disappointed, but I'm gonna keep hunting eBay for them, and hopefully they'll turn up. And then also the other non-3 racing parts are the MST tires. They look cool. I wanted something with like a bit of a more realistic tread on them instead of just slicks. Wheels, I went with white as well, just a simple white spoke, because I'm going to do something pink, I think, as well on the body. Pink or blue, and white is just a pretty standard overall color that goes with just about anything. And then I got some inserts, these Speedmind hard blue inserts. I don't really know how well they're gonna work. The tires come with foam, so I'm not sure which I'm gonna use. I'll probably try these, see what happens. The wheels and tires I'm going to do along with the body, because that's kind of a, you know, exterior looks and things type of deal. So those are gonna go off with the body in another video. For other stuff, just got some hexes, got all of the turnbuckle pivot balls. They had them in pink, but not all of the ones that I needed in pink. So I was like, well, okay, let's at least make them all match. Blue and pink kind of look cool together, and having something a little bit different than all this pink, I think is gonna look good. So I got a bunch of those in blue, different sizes and lengths and such as I need. Bulkhead covers, front and rear bulkheads. Some of these parts are not actually for this car. For example, these are both specified as fronts. They had front and rear, the rears were out of stock, but from what I can tell, just looking at them on the car, they look identical front and rear, so hopefully it'll work. Got battery tray bits and bobs. This is the center spur gear, like sprocket set thing. 2 motor mounts, because the correct one, which is this one, was not actually in stock when I originally ordered all these parts, so I got this one instead. They'll both fit from what I can tell. This one I would just have to make a little adapter plate for the motor, because to mount a motor on this one would require your motor holes to be spaced 90 degrees apart for each other, not 180. Some motors have them 90 degrees apart, mine doesn't. So I would have to make an adapter plate if I was going to use this, but I'm going to use the correct one. Turnbuckles, all in pink. And last but not least, shocks. I think these are technically for a different vehicle, but hey, they're pink, they're the same length, they'll work just fine. Okay, so I think the way I'm going to attack this is I'm going to start with the bulkheads and their covers, because everything kind of surrounds the bulkheads front and rear, and a lot of the linkages and such have to come off of the bulkheads in order to change the bulkheads themselves. So once the bulkheads are switched, then I'll rebuild my turnbuckles, and as I'm putting the bulkheads back in, put the pivot balls in them where they need to be. And then from there, I think I will go on from the front, I'll move on to the rear, which will include the motor mount, because that's kind of all integrated back there. And then suspension and miscellaneous things. I'll save the shocks for last, because I hate filling shocks with a burning passion. That's my plan of action. I'm gonna grab some tools and start tearing into this thing. heads are done, front and rear, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the motor mounts and such related components. Got the motor mounts bolted up along with the spur gear sprockets, and I also put the battery mounts on, or the battery strap hold downs, just for now, because I figure, well, simple enough. I also put the hexes on. You can't see it, but I actually had to machine a little bit of extra clearance on the motor mounts because they were indeed actually intended for a different vehicle than this one. And I had to do some adjusting, some shimming, and in the end a little bit of machining actually to get them to fit. This thing's coming along really, really good so far. It looks absolutely stunning. Next up for me is going to be pulling off the turnbuckles and getting them rebuilt, along with the rear control arms and just a couple other little suspension odds and ends before I get to the shocks. All the turnbuckles are installed along with all the ball studs, and I also got the rear control arms installed too, which looks absolutely stunning. I really wish I had a front set, but unfortunately I don't, so I'm gonna have to keep looking around on eBay for one. Ugh. And since everything else is gone, I guess unfortunately it is time to build some shocks. And there you have it, guys. All the upgrades are installed on my touring car. I am incredibly pleased. This thing looks super slick with all the upgrades on it. It just adds so much more character to this rig. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm still gonna have to take this thing out, give it a test run, get everything dialed back in, get my camber adjustments all back in where they need to be, get my toe adjusted properly, all that type of stuff. I did have to swivel my motor wires around a little bit so they would actually come around and actually reach to the ESC where they're supposed to be. Took me most of the day actually to get all this stuff on there, including doing the little bit of machining I needed to get the motor mount to fit and everything. I can't wait to get the fresh body for this thing painted up. It's gonna look sweet, hopefully, depending on whatever I decide to do with it. But with that, you guys, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you did, please do leave a big fat thumbs up. If this does happen to be the first video that you have seen by me, make sure you go down, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below as well if you're excited to see the paint job that I end up going with. Not sure yet, probably going to be something pink. As always, follow me on Instagram at highway49_RC. Support me on Patreon, join my Discord server, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, become a member of the channel as well to help support me make videos just like this one. So that's all I've got to say, guys. Thank you so much for sticking along, and I will see y'all in the next one.